Welcome back to Junie B. Jones and her big fat mouth. Chapter 1, Punishment. My name is Junie B. Jones. The B stands for Beatrice, except I don't like Beatrice. I just like B, and that's all. I go to kindergarten. My room is named Room 9. There are lots of rules in that place, like no shouting and no running in the hall and no butting the other children in the stomach with your head. My teacher's name is Mrs. She has another name too, but I just like Mrs. and that's all. Last week, Mrs. clapped her loud hands together. Then she made announcements to us. Announcements is the school word for telling us something very important. Boys and girls, may I have your attention, please? She said. Today is going to be a special day in Room 9. We're going to be talking about different careers you can have when you grow up. Yeah, only guess what? I said. I never even heard of that dumb word careers before, and so I don't know what the heck we're talking about. Mrs. made squinty eyes at me. A career is a job, Junie B., she said, and please raise your hand before you speak. Then Mrs. talked some more about careers, and she said Monday was going to be called Job Day, and everybody in Room 9 would come to school dressed up like what kind of job they wanted to be. After that, Room 9 was very excited. Except not me, because I had a big problem, that's why. Yeah, only guess what? I said. I don't know what I want to be when I grow up, and so that means I can't come to school on Monday. And now I'll probably flunk kindergarten. Hooray! Shouted a mean boy named Jim. I made a fist at him. How'd you like me to bash your brains in, you big fat Jim? I shouted right back. Mrs. came over to my table. She bended down next to me. Please, Junie B., you simply must try to control yourself better in class. We've talked about this before, remember? Yes, I said nicely. Only I hate that dumb guy. Just then my bestest friend Lucille, who sits next to me, stood up and fluffed her ruffly dress. I always control myself, don't I, teacher? She said. That's because my Nana taught me to act like a little lady, and so Junie B. Jones should act more like me. I made a growly face at her. I do act like a little lady, you dumb bunny, Lucille. And don't say that again or I'll knock you on your can. Mrs. did a frown at me. Just kidding, I said very quick, except for Mrs. kept on frowning, and then she gave me punishments. Punishment is a school word for sitting at a big table all by yourself, and everybody keeps on staring at you. It makes you feel like P.U. That's how come I put my head down on the table, and I covered it up with my arms, because punishment takes the friendly right out of you. And so at recess, I didn't speak to Lucille, and I didn't speak to my other bestest friend named Grace either. I just sat down in the grass all by myself, and I watched janitor paint the litter cans, and I played with a stick and an ant, and that's all. I hate Room 9, I said very grumpily. Except for just then, I saw something very wonderful in the grass, and its name was Two Cherry Lifesavers. Hey, I love those guys, I said. Then I quick picked one up, and I blowed off the germs, and I put it right in my mouth. Wait! Don't do that! Shouted a loud voice at me. Spit that out right now. I turned my head. It was Janitor. He was running at me. Speedy quick. His jingly keys were jangling all over the place. Spit that out, I said. He yelled again. And so then I spit the cherry lifesaver on the ground because that guy was scaring me, that's why. Janitor bended down next to me. I didn't mean to frighten you, sis, he said. But I spotted a bunch of dirty candy in the grass, and I was going to clean it up when I finished painting. He looked serious at me. Don't you ever eat anything you find on the ground, do you hear? Not ever. But I blowed off the germs, I told him. Janitor shook his head. You can't blow germs off, he said. Eating things that you find on the ground is very, very dangerous. The janitor picked up the dangerous candy. "Now run along and play," he said. I did a big sigh. "Yeah, only I can't," I said, "because I shot off my big fat mouth in kindergarten and then I got punishment. Now I hate my bestest friend Lucille." Janitor smiled a little bit sad. "Life is hard sometimes, isn't it, sis?" he said. I bobbed my head up and down. "Yes," I said. "Life is PU." Then Janitor patted my head and he walked away. And so guess what? I just like Janitor, and that's all. Chapter 2. The Cop and Dr. Smiley. When we came in from recess, Mrs. was clapping her loud hands together again. "Boys and girls, please take your seats quickly. I've got a wonderful surprise for you." Then I got very excited inside my stomach because surprises are my most favorite thing in the whole world. "Is it jelly donuts?" I shouted. Mrs. put her finger to her lips. "That means be quiet." "Yeah, only guess what? Jelly donuts are my most favorite kind of donuts. But I also like the creamy kind and the chocolate kind and the kind with rainbow sprinkles on top." After that, my mouth got very watering, and some drool fell on the table. I wiped it up with my sweater sleeve. Just then there was a knock on the door. Mrs. hurried to open it. "Hey, it's a cop!" I hollered, very excited. The cop came into room 9. He had on a blue shirt with a shiny badge, and shiny black boots, and a shiny white motorcycle helmet. Mrs. smiled. "Boys and girls, I would like for you to meet my friend, Officer Mike. Officer Mike is a policeman. Who can tell me what policemen do?" "I can," I called out. "They arrest people, because one time some cops arrested a guy on my street, and so that means they made him take a nap, I think." Just then that Jim I hate laughed very loud. "Ha ha ha! They didn't arrest him, stupid!" he hollered. "They arrested him! That means they took him to jail, so your neighbor's a dirty, rotten jailbird." Then the other kids laughed too. "Ha ha ha ha!" And so I hided my head. "Yeah, only I hardly even know that guy," I said to just myself. After that, Officer Mike took off his shiny white helmet, and he told us some other stuff that cops do, like give our dad speeding tickets and arrest drunk guys. Also, he let us play with his handcuffs and his shiny white helmet, except for the helmet was very too big for my head, and it covered my whole entire eyes. "Hey, who turned out the lights?" I said, because that was a funny joke, of course. Then another knock came at the door. This time it was a lady with a long white jacket. She was carrying a giant red toothbrush. "Boys and girls, this is Dr. Smiley," said Mrs. "Dr. Smiley is a children's dentist." Dr. Smiley hung up some posters of teeth. Then she talked all about Mr. Tooth Decay. And she said to brush our teeth at night, and also in the morning. "Yeah, 'cause if you don't brush in the morning, your breath smells like stink," I said. After that, I showed Dr. Smiley my wiggly tooth. "Losing baby teeth is exciting, isn't it?" she asked. "Yes," I said, "except for I don't like the part when you cry and spit blood." Dr. Smiley made a sick face. Then she passed out minty green dental floss, and all the kids in room 9 practiced flossing. Flossing is when you pull strings through your mouth. Only pretty soon an accident happened. That's because a boy named William winded his floss too tight, and his teeth and head got in a tangled knot ball, and Dr. Smiley couldn't undo 'em. Then Mrs. had to call janitor speedy quick, and so he run to room 9, and he shined his giant flashlight in William's mouth. And then Dr. Smiley got the dangerous floss right out of there. Room 9 clapped and clapped. Dr. Smiley did a bow. Then Mrs. said, "Maybe some of us might like to dress up like dentists or police officers on job day." "Yeah, only what if you don't like drunk guys or bloody teeth?" I asked. Mrs. rolled her eyes way up at the ceiling. Then she walked Officer Mike and Dr. Smiley out into the hall. That's when room 9 started buzzing very loud. Bzz, bzz. "I want to be a firefighter. I'm going to work and take people's money like my daddy. I'm going to dress up like an actress on job day," said a girl named Emily. "I'm going to dress up like a princess," said my bestest friend Lucille that I hate. I did a giggle. "I'm going to dress up like a bull bullfighter, I said. Then I ran speedy fast around the room, and I butted that mean Jim in the stomach with my head. Oof! And guess what? I didn't even get caught, that's what. That's all for today. Join me next time for Chapter 3, Me and My Big Fat Mouth.